I'm Caitlin Tyrrell with the Illuminerdi, and I am here with Lawrence Iriarte, and we are going to be talking about Lumpia with a Vengeance and the comics that have been coming up from this. It is so cool and so exciting. But Lawrence, what made you fall in love with comics?
Oh my gosh, magic. I mean, comic books to me has been always part of my life.
Okay.
I mean, ever since I was a kid, it taught me how to read, it taught me how to draw, it taught me how to communicate, and it taught me to go to places, go on adventures. I was an asthmatic kid, and I couldn't go out much. And my first comic book came to me when I was in a hospital.
Oh, okay.
And that was the thing that my parents gave to me underneath an oxygen tent and everything. And just the sheer pictures, the colors, the heroes, and we don't have the thousands of heroes that we had back then, but just the true essence of a hero out there to save you is just magical to me. And still, it's just everybody wants a hero.
Completely agree. And then, so when exactly in the Lumpia timeline do these comics take place?
That's the great thing, is that that we have different chapters. The last chapter called the Postlude is coming after the fact of filming, but we actually have a prelude which happens between the original movie of Lumpia and to Lumpia with a Vengeance, and then we have the interlude, which is happening right in between of the scenes of the movie itself. Yeah, so you could actually watch the movie and read the interlude and find scenes. Go, oh my gosh, this is happening between these scenes.
Yeah.
And then now we have, which just came out this last Wednesday, is the postlude, the follow-up after the end of our film. Very
cool. That's so cool that you're giving them basically a deeper understanding of the movie.
A broader universe of the Deepfried Universe, as we call it. It's a chance to actually explore, more behind the scenes. Kind of like what Marvel has done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and that sort of thing. Well, we're exploring the background of sometimes just the background characters themselves that are in the scene.
Yeah.
And giving you a broader universe, a broader, a bigger sandbox to play in.
Very cool. And now this started as really just a passion project that has grown into a full universe with huge audience support. Can you talk about the experience?
Yeah, actually, it started off with Patricio Genesella, who created the first Lumpia, and that movie was his answer with his high school friends about doing a movie kind of like in the vein of Robert Rodriguez's El Mariachi.
Yeah.
So instead of using a guitar as a weapon, here he is using Lumpia as a weapon. And so they did that film, and it was well received back then. And the passion came in is that 10 years later, they found that there was still an audience that requested what happened after the first movie. What happened to these kids that are in the story, which originated with neighborhood kids in high school and having this Lumpia Avenger. What happened to them? Yeah. So Lumpia with a Vengeance is that story years later, and some of the same members of the original film return along with a brand new cast and a brand new adventure, and exactly what happened to the Lumpia Avenger of the first film.
I love it. And then, what is your favorite kind of story within the prelude of this? Where's the in-between?
I actually wrote one of the chapters in the prelude.
Yeah.
And my favorite is that we introduce a detective.
Okay.
In the movie.
Yeah.
And so we get his background story and his involvement of the case of finding out this mysterious Lumpia Avenger.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's like the Gordon.
He's the Gordon. Yeah. He's finding out who is this mysterious vigilante who uses Lumpia. And so I get a chance to actually write that story, the encounter of that.
That's so cool. Why do you think people have latched onto this hero?
I think it's because there's something familiar, meaning that lumpia has become a food that's been in many homes and neighbors and friends and family parties and businesses and that sort of thing. So it's a festive food. So everybody has that familiar thing. But then along comes the culture, the Filipino culture that comes with it, and we explore that. We share that without jamming so many rules and regulations down your throat. We let the adventure, kind of like familiarize these different parts that you may have seen with a friend or family, a co-worker, something around you, and then we make it part of our story.
I love it. And can you talk about why it's so important to have this representation, specifically in the superhero genre?
Absolutely. I, grew up loving, the classic Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and it's so refreshing when you realize that you get a chance to actually draw a character, act a character that I'm looking in the mirror at.
Yeah.
I grew up without a Filipino superhero. I grew up without an Islander superhero. And those who wrote about Asian heroes weren't necessarily in the vein of maybe accuracy or truthfulness, or sometimes not very flattering. One of the questions I keep on saying is like, why is every, martial artist with a bandana? Why is some of them barefoot? I don't, I practice martial arts and I'm not barefooted, and to get a chance to actually do a story with a lot of heart, a lot of fun, a lot of tease, but at the same time, we know the nature of where everything comes from, so it's not insulting.
Yeah.
So we're able to deliver a story, deliver characters that are just fresh, exciting, and just fun and familiar, it's for the family.
I love it. And then you guys have a spin-off of one of the characters that was introduced in the movie. What about Gemini made you guys say, we need to know more about this character?
Well, as you can see right behind you, the character is very visually really, really cool. That we have the character that we have in the movie, with this divided lipstick, different kind of sunglasses, and it gave us a chance to explore her origins, her backstory, and is there more behind her, and introduce something a little bit more of a different flavor that's within the superhero genre, and expand the universe of that we already did, and just make it more even outlandish. I mean, having villains that use yo-yos as a weapon, yet is like at the same time you're like, it's kind of cool, It's familiar but cool, So it gives us a chance to actually touch into the culture, but actually gives us a chance to actually design and write and just create that voice for that villain, and like what could they be, and what kind of fun can we have with it.
And are there any other characters that you want to dig into?
Oh yes, absolutely. And even my son was talking that he's one of the co-designers of this particular character of Gemini, but we were talking about the backstories of the kids that are in the story, and to have more about them and like where are they going and what's happened during this adventure that's in the movie itself or in between that. So there's so many different characters that I would like to explore, and we're creating that world. We're creating even more of just taking that challenge. If you could believe that Lumpia could fight crime, then the world is like blown open, with that possibility.
And then were there like story points or big action sequences or something that you were really able to dig into in the comics that were a little more difficult to like pull off in live action? Absolutely.
I mean, we're talking stunts, martial arts. So, rather than, we could only afford 3 people, now, I was able to draw an entire fight sequence of an army of like, in this case, this is a spoiler, but in the issue of the interlude, I have a bunch of bowlers that are just a gang of bowlers. And it was just like, kind of like, it was inspired by the movie The Warriors, I'm like going, well, they have the baseball furies, like I have the Holy Rollers, they like this bowling gang, and with pins and bowling balls. So, there's no way we're gonna do that. We're talking like big budget, like special effects and major props, and stunts. So I threw in as many people I wanted in the comic book strip because I could draw it, and had a fight sequence just as extravaganza, and no one got hurt.
Yep, always a plus.
Yeah, so no one got hurt, but a lot of carnage, but no one got hurt.
And then, is there a particular DC or Marvel character that you would like to see Lumpia either team up with or face off against?
I'm a big Batman fan.
Oh, I love it.
So here we have a guy who throws Lumpia, and he has a utility belt. And that's just enough to tell you there's another guy who dresses up as a bat, and he throws a batarang. all I'm saying,
Perfect combination.
you know, if Batman could team up with Scooby-Doo, why not our Lumpia Avenger, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yes, I so want to see that now.
See, right? Throwing Batarang, throwing the Lumpia, utility belts. No-brainer.
Yep. And then is there, what other food would you like to see a superhero be built around?
Well, you know, in our postlude, we kind of introduced more food as the inspiration of the possibility of maybe additional crime fighters and possibility of more villains. So check out, you know, our Lumpia with Avengers #3 and see what we got there of all kinds of different food that could happen. And we definitely explore that.
Perfect. I love it. I'm so excited. This has been amazing. The movie, I'm sure, is fantastic. I'm so excited to see it this weekend.
Yes.
If you are at well, this is going to be after the interview, so, but be sure to find places to check out Lumpia with a Vengeance, and be sure to check out these comics because they are beautiful and amazing and fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, Lawrence.
Thank you.
This has been awesome, and I'm so excited for more.
Love that Lumpia. Thank you.